Hello, everybody. I'm Professor Peter Jonason, your stylish scientist, and today is one of my favorite holidays, May 5th. This is a Star Wars holiday that talks about the dark side of the Force, and so let's use that as an opportunity to talk about something that I find quite interesting in relationship research, and something that might be useful for you to think about as a strategy to understand yourself and what you need in your partners, and maybe even what you value just in general. So there's a great line when Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, yet to be, spoiler alert, Darth Vader, are battling in Revenge of the Sith. And Anakin says, "You're either with me or against me." And Obi-Wan says, "Only the Sith think in absolutes." And so there is some truth to this kind of black and white thinking. There is evidence, for example, that people high on the dark triad, narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, are more likely to think in black and white terms. This is a kind of a cold, insensitive approach to processing the world and dealing with people. But as a method in research, it's rather unappreciated, because how do we know what people really care about, or who people really are, until they're backed into a corner? Now, we see this in our real lives. So I'm going through right now, or I had been going through this past week, a bit of a dilemma, having to choose between two things. And this really highlights what is it that matters to me, and it will highlight what matters to you if you can think that way. Now, we don't like to think this way because, of course, we all want it all, right? We want a romantic partner who is a 10 on everything, and we want to have the jobs we want to have on the terms that we want to have it. But this isn't realistic. The reality is we sometimes have to make choices. We have to work out what are your priorities. And so you can ask yourself, really, like, what is it that really matters to me? And if you think about it in terms of trading off things, choosing between two options, it might actually be quite informative. And in psychometrics, we would call this a forced choice or an ipsative method, right? Choose between option A or option B. And your choices in those things reveal really who you are. Now, you'd like to have both things, of course, but it says, okay, look, you can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. Now, we don't really know exactly what we need, but we can at least say, what is it you really, really want, right? And so there's a million things we could have. What is it that we really care about? And we can talk about this in terms of romantic and sexual relationships. So you can ask yourself simple questions like, do you want a compassionate partner or a competent partner? You could be even more esoteric and look at things like morality, for example, and say, what kind of partner do you want? Do you want someone whose value system is oriented towards avoiding harming people or being loyal to other people? You can ask yourself those very same questions and say, okay, what is it that I care about? Indeed, our research coming out of University of Silesia and Katowice with my wonderful colleague, Lukas is trying to understand these moral trade-offs, and the idea being that maybe people high on psychopathy aren't actually all that evil, or if they are evil, what that means is that their moral systems tend to bias them to make trade-offs that, for example, might harm other people and prioritize themselves. And so we could look at morality in terms of both ourselves and other people. We can look at people's motives. What are the things that matter to you? Maybe you're getting to know someone in a romantic context, right, in your initial dates. And maybe instead of asking them, what are the things you care about, you could actually pose the question as, look, what matters more to you? Seeking status, like improving your job prospects, if you will, or remaining in a committed relationship, right? So what's more important, this job or me, for example? And the responses that someone gives you there might actually expedite the process of either escalating the relationship or ending the relationship, right? And so if you ask someone something as simple as that, it might give you enough information to navigate and minimize the drama and wasted time and broken hearts that you might have. Indeed, there's quite a few online commentators who would just say to you, look, if somebody reveals who they are to you, someone tells you who they are to you, believe them. Even if they don't really believe it, that's not the point. Even if that's not really what they value, they told you that's what they value, and so all you can do is take that information and go with it. Now, one of the problems of being a psychology professor, or anyone who studies psychology, is you tend to have a slightly softer approach about these things. You're trying to understand people's behavior, and so you can kind of find yourself caught in relationships that you probably shouldn't be caught in. So you have to be a little bit black and white here, and this will, in principle, minimize the drama in your future and the wasted time, because these situationships, for example, that we can find ourselves in, which are in two people, in relationships where two people are not equally yoked, maybe, or just not really all that into it, friends with benefits, for example, then you're likely to have wasted your time with this person. And time is precious. Now, when you're young, it seems like time is permanent, right? You have lots and lots of time. So you're 24, you think, oh, I've got ages to worry about things like settling down. Or you might not even think you want to settle down. And in principle, you might not think that because of the stage in your life. You might not think that because you weren't asked to make these trade-offs in your mind. You just said, yeah, of course. Yeah, relationship, I want that too. But right now, I'm doing this. And so while it might be somewhat artificial, asking people simple questions about what is it they value in terms of these trades might actually be useful. And so we're going to try to do some research on this over the next couple of years. We have, just today I submitted this, the first paper looking at the trade-off method, this trade-off method in mate preferences, and Vukash has submitted this in relation to morality, but his paper was, and our paper was more about morality in general. You could ask this in the context of romantic relationships, right, or the context of work. This could be applied to any context you want, really, by simply asking people to choose among a series of traits. What is it that you want? Do you want this or this, this or this, this or this? And it would allow you to get the number of times someone chose a particular, say, motive, right? So one of the fundamental social motives would be mate retention. How important is it for you to work on your relationship, to keep your partner happy? And if you don't choose that a lot, it suggests that not only might you not say you don't choose it, you're not valuing it a lot, but the person chose it. So we like to often say that behaviors are more trustworthy than words, and so make people choose. Maybe ask this person several times over the course of several dates about their motives, right, of their fundamental social motives, morale, about their mate-seeking behavior, status-seeking behavior, their morality, their mate preferences, and you could, in the moment, over time at least, right, you could ad hoc make up a score in your mind that says, okay, this person is emotionally available. This person is ready for a relationship. Or no, they're not. This person is really just looking to play the field and have a good time, and so I'm not looking for that. And so I don't want to waste my time doing that. And so remember, mating matters. And in this case, we're taking something that I'm using to study mating and blowing it up to inform you about maybe how to make better choices in who you're going to date. All right? So that's all for now. Like, subscribe, share, all that kind of wonderful stuff. Ciao.